Welcome to the Happiness Drive Success podcast, brought to you by Motivate Coaching, the multidiscipline practice for extraordinary people. Here, we discuss finding your happiness and how you can use it to drive your success. Please welcome your host, co-founder, CEO, and master of discovering happiness, Stuart Isham-Fairbairns.
Good morning, wonderful, fantastic, beautiful friends. How are we today? It is yet another beautiful day here in Africa. I am out with Harlow on a hike as we speak. Today's podcast title grabbed your attention, didn't it? Oh, Captain, my Captain. What I want to talk about here is conflict as our teacher. A concept that I've spoken about a number of times in different podcast episodes is noticing thoughts, is paying attention to what we think. Again, we think 40 to 60,000 thoughts a day. Noticing all of them would be more than a full-time job. So what we're looking at here is looking at individual thoughts and if they serve us. And as we know, of course, thoughts inform our emotions inform our actions, which informs the results that we get and experience. I mean, it's all fine and well talking about noticing thoughts. And we've also explored how do we notice thoughts. It can be difficult, right? What size, shape are they? What flavor are they? What color are they? How do you know what a thought looks like? And the reality is, it's our human tendency to want to put things into a box, to comprehend them, is what we look to do. But it can be quite difficult, can't it? Because thoughts are abstract. Thoughts are not a shape. They don't have a feeling. They don't have a color or a flavor or a taste. They're thoughts. So what we need to do is learn how we can start to recognize thoughts. And what I was thinking this morning as I was on my hike is that if we go to the extremities of thoughts, where let's say we have a programmed response. So if we work backwards in the model of thoughts, emotions, actions, results, and let's say, for example, we have an emotional experience. So one I'm sure we could all relate to is we have family conflict. So we all go out to lunch, or we go to parents' house or siblings' house or auntie, uncle's house, and everybody's there. There's that one family member that is antagonistic or winds you up. Perhaps it's all of them. Perhaps it's a couple of them. But it happens. This is the perfect opportunity to really work this model. And the ultimate goal here, remember, is that we can identify the thought. By identifying the thought, from there we can change the thought, and we can therefore influence our emotional reaction to it, how we feel, and therefore by extension the actions, and then the ultimate experience that we get at the end of the day. Because if we just go into that situation with family and we're there and they wind us up, or we feel that conflict within ourselves, our automatic reaction could be to go to that programmed emotional response, it might be associated being a little child, which then comes out in a reaction of you might bark at them, or you continue the argument, and then ultimately the experience you get is not a pleasant one, and you leave thinking, next time there's a family thing, I'm not coming. And that's not great, is it? I mean, we'd like to be able to live our lives, firstly, a little more in our control, and secondly, being able to enjoy the experiences that we have the fortune and opportunity to experience. So what we want to look at is, in that moment of conflict, is when you feel that emotion rising up in you and you feel that feeling, you have a choice in that moment to notice it. And that's the first thing you're going to do, is just notice the fact that it's there. The next step is that we're going to take some perspective from it. We're going to notice it, and we're going to take a step back. So in that moment, Uncle Bob winds you up and you feel it, or Brother Trevor or whoever, you feel the wind up coming inside of you. You feel the emotional reaction, the disappointment, the anger, the frustration, whatever it may be. If you can, in that moment, give yourself some mental space and take a deep breath. Perhaps you'll need to actually excuse yourself from the table and just go to the toilet for a second and take a deep breath. Now you're just going to take a deep breath in your nose, out your mouth. And what this will allow you to do is just have a little bit of space, and you're going to feel that emotion inside of you. Now your temptation is going to be to slip into the next part of the process, which is going to be feeling, this is frustrating. Why do I feel this? Or to react and going, you're wrong, or whatever it may be to the situation. And what you want to try and do is not get to that stage. It'll be there, and that's fine. And if you feel it coming in, recognize it, say hi. You're in this place of zooming out slightly, so that you can be calmer in this situation. And that's ultimately what we're looking for here, is to be calm. Now, at the start, I mentioned this is conflict, my teacher. Now, this is such an opportunity here for us to be able to find in conflict situations throughout our lives how we can have calm. Things pop up, you're in a boardroom, you're giving a presentation, and something comes up that completely throws you. A client says something that upsets you, or a colleague does, or college or university or wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and that feeling comes up. You can stay calm in that moment and not allow that particular circumstance to dictate your behavior, because that can often put us in situations where we have our foot in our mouths, right? Where we can do something that actually takes us backwards a bit. And so back to the family lunch. If you can take that moment to be calm, you've gone to the toilet, you've taken a moment at the table, and you can smile, or you can choose how to react. You can choose not to react. Obviously, the situations can escalate depending on the sibling or the family member, but it's not for you to take it on. Now, I realize that this might sound like it's probably far too easy in words and there's no way it would work in practice. The point is, it's not about anything external to you. It's about you and your reactions and your life. It's about what you feel and what you experience. Something that's very good accompaniment to helping us utilize conflict as a teacher is mindfulness or meditation. Mindfulness and meditation are not about sitting with your legs folded like a pretzel and, trying to look for enlightenment. It's about finding calm and peace in your own mind and body to be able to have a semblance of control and influence over your thoughts, over your emotions, over your actions, and as a result, over the experience you have in your life. You get one life, folks. You can choose to go to that lunch and get frustrated and leave at the end of the day, not only angry at Uncle Bob or Brother Trevor or whoever it is that frustrated you, but annoyed and guilty and ego bruised yourself because of the situation that happened. Now, that's no way to continue the day. Then what happens? You go home to husband, wife, kids, flatmates, roommate, whoever, and you bark at them for no apparent reason. Now everybody's feeling it. And for what? What does it achieve other than just complete frustration? Next time there's a family event, you don't go because of what happened last time, and that's just sad. There's lots of other family members you'd love to spend time with. So again, I'm just using this family lunch as an example purely because it's something that I think we can all relate to. If we think about the extremity or some of the levels of extremity on the scale of emotion that we feel, we can then use that as opportunity. In that conflict moment, we can use that opportunity to identify the thoughts, to zoom out a little bit and recognize, okay, something's going on here, and this is a really strong opportunity for me to be able to make a better influence in my life. Now, you might find that for family lunches for the rest of your life, you can't fully get past it. Maybe Uncle Bob just loves winding you up, and that's just going to stay the way. Now, that is Uncle Bob's prerogative, and unfortunately, you have no control over that. You can have words with Uncle Bob, you can try, but if he continues on, then there's not much you can do about that. That's external to you. What you can absolutely control is your reaction to it. Take control and use these moments to be able to identify the thoughts that you're thinking, the feelings that you're feeling. And when you're in situations that are less conflict driven or less conflict heavy, in normal situations, you're going to get better and better at recognizing thoughts and emotions and reactions to different things. You're going to be able to do it more and more in your life. So the family example is purely an extremity in order to give an example so that you can start the process of being able to identify when you're feeling something in a spike or thinking something in a spike, and how you can then notice emotions and thoughts that are less frustrating and are just happening as part of your day, and be able to change and control them as well. So conflict is a part of life. We can't get away from it. It just is what it is. You have an ice cream and you get an ice cream headache. It just happens. It's not that it's some evil force that's out to get you. It's just something that happens. Conflict is a part of life. And if we can accept that and we can work on how we react to it, our thoughts, our emotions, our actions, we're going to completely change our experience, because we're going to have more control over it, we're going to be calmer, and we're going to feel better about ourselves. We can feel proud of ourselves because we no longer let Uncle Bob get to me. And I bet every single one of you listening to this has had a situation in your life where you have reframed it, whether intentionally or not, and you've managed to actually find that something that used to irritate you or frustrate you no longer does. So what did you do in that situation? How did you get past it? And I bet you if you break it down, you can notice that whether it was the thought pattern that you changed, context of that situation, or it was the emotions that you felt, then changed the action that you had in that moment, and thus the experience. Again, going back to the family one, if you change your thoughts of when Uncle Bob winds you up, you go, I'm not going to let this get to me. Now, you're not going to outwardly make Uncle Bob feel bad. It's his stuff. You just choose not to let it get to you, and you take a deep breath and you try. It's not going to be easy, but none of these things are. They're simple, but they're not easy. And the more you practice it, the stronger you'll get and the better at it. So you change that thought, which can calm the emotion that you're feeling, which will change the reaction, won't it? Like the behavior you would perform before, you might have just barked at Uncle Bob or said something rude to him or something like that. Whereas this situation, you don't react. What experience does that mean you get at the end of it? It means you end up feeling calmer. You end up leaving not frustrated and riled up. It's as simple as that, folks. Conflict is something that is absolutely to be used in this life as an opportunity for us to learn and grow and get past. So when you find conflict coming up in your life, don't hide from it, don't run from it, don't fear it, observe it and use it as an opportunity to learn. Again, it's not going to be easy, but it is going to make you stronger. And the more you do that in life, the more you push forward the bold pursuit that is your human experience and your individual life. I know you can do it. I've got your back. I'm always here. The entire happiness community, your Join Your Happy Place community on Facebook is here for you. Please come and join us there. Again, that is facebook.com/groups/Join Your Happy Place. You can either just search in Facebook for Join Your Happy Place or go to the URL facebook.com/groups/Join Your Happy Place. If you'd like to have a coaching session to discuss these things in particular with your life, you can go to the Motivate Coaching website, which is motivate-coaching.com, and you'll see on the homepage there is a button to book a session, and then we can have a chat. Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, have a top banana day. Thank you so much for listening.
Thanks so much for listening. If you're interested in learning more, go to the Motivate website at www.motivate-coaching.com. If you'd like to get in touch with Stuart directly, you can get him at Stuart, spelled S-T-U-A-R-T, at motivate-coaching.com. Thanks so much for joining us, and remember, your happiness drives your success. See you next time, folks.